Hi, my name is Haley Turner, and this is my professional topic assignment. Who are Charles Amy Cutter and Minnie Earl Sears? They were cataloging pioneers. A little history. Charles Amy Cutter was born in 1837 in Boston, Massachusetts. He lived with his aunts, and they enrolled him in the Hopkins Classical School. This was a school that led into Harvard College and then the Divinity School. His aunts thought that he would live or choose a religious path with his life, but at a very young age, he found the library system and was intrigued by organizing and cataloging it at a very young age. He entered college early at 14. While he was a student, he organized the library with a fellow classmate, Charles Noyes. They rearranged, classified, and cataloged the extensive collection that was at the Divinity School. After graduation, he became the assistant librarian with Dr. Ezra Abbott and helped to organize the Harvard College Library, where they set up a card catalog system. In 1868, he became the new librarian at the Boston Athenaeum, and he also cataloged that collection. Minnie Earl Sears was born in 1873 in Indiana. She earned her Bachelor of Science at 18 from Purdue, and then got her master's and was awarded a Bachelor of Library Science from the University of Illinois. Later in 1923, she joined the Wilson staff, and that was an opportunity where she could use her knowledge to share across the country instead of just working in set particular libraries and colleges. What did they do? Cutter cataloged collections for multiple different libraries. He helped with Dr. Abbott to create a card catalog for Harvard College. He was the head librarian at the Boston Athenaeum for 25 years. Also in 1876, when the country was having their centennial, he helped to write a report on how the library systems in the country were heading. He also created the Cutter Expansive Classification System of cataloging, and the Cutter numbers are still used today. They help catalogers in libraries create call numbers for the library books. Sears wrote the list of subject headings for small libraries. She also helped edit many things while she worked at the Wilson Publishing Company. Also, she helped to organize the first master's degree in cataloging at Columbia. The Sears list of subject headings is still used today, and it's on its 23rd edition. The subject headings for small libraries, it was made to simplify subject headings to make it easier than the Library of Congress system that was used. The headings helped librarians collect, organize, and find similar information, but it was a more simplified version that was easier to use than the Library of Congress system, because sometimes those can be too detailed for smaller library collections. When did they do this? So Cutter was born in 1937, was in college from 1951 to 1959, and then was a full-time librarian at Harvard. He was then, from 1868 to 1892, the head librarian at Boston Athenaeum. In 1876, he was one of the 100 founding members for the American Library Association. And in 1880s, when he introduced his expansive classification system. Also, for a few years, he was an editor for the Library Journal. And then in 1893, he went to a new library in Northampton, Massachusetts, where he wanted to use his classification system and also catalog the collection there. Sears was born in 1873, so they weren't quite contemporaries, but around the same time were working on similar goals on cataloging. From 1893 to 1923, Sears was a cataloger and bibliographer at multiple colleges, and then she joined the Wilson Company and published her book in 1923. Where did they do this? So Cutter mostly stayed in Boston. He went to Cambridge, which is like 30 minutes away from Boston, and then Northampton for the Forbes Library, but it was mostly all the same area. Sears moved around a little bit more than Cutter did. She attended college in Indiana and Illinois, and then worked as the assistant cataloger at the University of Illinois. Then she was in Pennsylvania as a assistant, then head cataloger at Bryn Mawr College. She then worked in Minnesota at the university as a head cataloger, and then she worked in New York at the Wilson Company, and then Columbia University and the New York Public Library. Why and how they did this? For Cutter, I feel like the scope of his work was to make it easier for librarians and patrons when entering the library to find the information that you want. Like, how is the library organized? This can help all libraries, K through 12 and higher. Because if you imagine walking into a room and it's not organized, how are you going to find a book when there's a pile of 1,000 books? It's not going to be easy. A couple of the quotes from the book written by his nephew, which was adorable. The notable feature of the new catalog of the Harvard Library was the fact that it was planned entirely to help the readers in using the library. That should be the goal. You don't want it to be so complicated and frustrating that someone leaves the library and can't find the information that they would like to leave with. And I feel like Sears was also in the same mindset. She found that subject headings were a very important part of organization in the library. If you can find other books relating to the topic too, whether it's for research or pleasure, that's also a practical use of the library. A friend and co-editor of Sears, Isadore Mudge, wrote in the Wilson Bulletin for Librarians that Sears had an unusual ability for research work of a high order and had her taste turned in that direction. She would have made a great reference librarian, but she was interested in cataloging and the research of subject cataloging. So her abilities were many. She could have gone multiple ways, but she decided to really, really hone in and concentrate on what she felt like was important, which was subject cataloging and how that helped organize a library. And here are my references. This book, written by William Parker Cutter, which was Charles' nephew, was very detailed. It went into where and how many siblings he had, great detail about his upbringing with his aunts, and also his college and working days. And then at the end, there were chapters about his personal life, how he was as a human, vacations that he went on with his nephew, and it was a delightful read, documentary, if you will. The information on Sears wasn't as easy to find in one location. The last 3 references were the information that I found on her. Thank you.